Alright guys, TouchBoy back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday so far, and today we're going to talk about Scump's thoughts on next year's CDL 2021 format. Of course, the CDL format we've had this year isn't ideal from a lot of people's perspective. Yes, we have 8 teams attending every event rather than the 12 teams that we actually have in the CDL as a whole. That made sense when we were in a LAN environment and we had the whole, well, you know, logistically, it's very difficult to get 12 teams to every single event, especially when you're planning to do, as we are right now, an event pretty much every single weekend. Of course, the whole structure isn't particularly well defined, given that we had a couple of weeks off. Now we've got events on back-to-back weekends, so it's all a little bit strange. I hope it would be better defined for next season as well. And there is certainly some things to talk about with the format on the whole. You know, the whole thought about the fact that the matches are defined before the season even begins, because so as the season goes on, seeding doesn't really determine, like, the matches aren't reseeded, for example. Teams have known who they're going to be playing in this Toronto home series this coming weekend months and months ago now. So the updated standings don't really have an impact on who people are playing in the pools. That's certainly an issue, but I think the major issue really from a lot of people's perspective is the fact that we're not playing in this traditional double elimination format, and every team isn't at every single event. Even if we had to have less events next year, kind of like we had in the Black Ops 4 season, I think a lot of people would prefer it if we did have every single team there every single weekend. That certainly is Scump's opinion. We'll look at that in a couple of minutes here. Like, if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Before we get into things, congratulations to, well, the top 5 places from last weekend's London Royal Ravens home series draft royale. Imply, Danny K, Omega just missed out on the top 5. Demza, Ibrahim, Taco Evolution, Fernie and Aaron, and I appreciate these teams were all the same, so I'm not exactly sure you know, how it was decided who came 5th, because the 5th place team, I think maybe whoever signed up for the tournament first or something like that. But Aaron Luna takes down the championship, winning himself a CDL jersey, and I believe this weekend's Toronto home series will be doing something similar. The link to, well, join at the Toronto home series draft royale will be linked down below again. So yeah, his team was pretty fantastic. Had 4 guys from the Dallas Empire and plus a Tatch as well. So maybe this is the solution. Choose the team that's going to be dominant and absolutely stack your roster with it. So yeah, congratulations. This weekend, I believe we're going to be doing something very similar to that indeed. I'm not exactly finalized on what the prizes are going to be, but it's going to be something like a CDL jersey at the very least. Before we go further, just wanted to talk about this tweet that Octane Sam did. So I wanted to take the time to apologize for the way I reacted after our series against London. The circumstances got the best of me, and I reacted in the heat of the moment in a way I shouldn't have. Moving forward, I'll try and represent myself in a more professional manner. So, you know, funny tweet that Octane comes out with, given the tweets that we looked at this past weekend. Are the CDL forcing him to say this? Is the Seattle Surge forcing him to say this? Or did he just feel like, yeah, okay, fair enough, maybe I crossed a boundary a little bit here? And he kind of did imply that maybe he felt like he crossed a boundary in the video he did, but it seems like maybe there's other forces at work here for sure. So let's talk about this Scump situation. As he says, there's a clip I'll show in a second. I think there was another clip just before this when he talked about how, like, you know, the current format sucks. Like, he just wished he could be able to play more Call of Duty, wanting 16 teams to actually attend every single event. So I'll play the clip on screen for you guys now, where of course we'll have a look at the current format, what the format was in previous seasons, and what the possibilities might be for the CDL next year, given a number of things that they have to consider that are on their plate.
And this is helpful.
But
I want it to expand to 16 teams, and every team be at every tournament, and there be pool play at every tournament.
Well, not gonna get better sitting here, so
in a perfect world, it would be
ready
four.
Up, yeah? Like
Four pools of 4 teams. Top 2 come out into a double elim 18 bracket.
So this is what the format has been this entire season. This is the Toronto home series coming up this weekend, and we have, well, 8 teams attend, 4 teams in each group, and well, yeah, this is what we call a GSL format, which we haven't really seen in Call of Duty in the CWL days. But yes, you play, well, you win 2 before you lose 2, and you get out, you lose 2 before you win 2, and then you go down. Now, this isn't the ideal format, right, in my opinion, given the fact that you can lose a series, but when you make it to the semi-finals, you're still on a level playing field, right? Like, you can win 2-0 in, like, your group, absolutely dominate everyone, and then you're still at the same level playing field as someone who lost, like, dramatically in the group stage, but still made it out. Don't think that's ideal. However, one of the main thought processes, I think, is the fact that when you look at this format, you'll find that 10 of the 13 matches are in group play, which means that every single team has an opportunity to be in any of these 10 matches, and only the top 4 teams go on to the Sunday finals. Now, earlier this season, when we were doing this on LAN, this actually used to be done over just 2 days. Now we do it over 3 days with the online scene, which I definitely think is better. It gives it more of an event feel. Back in the day, we used to have 3-day events. But, you know, when we were at the actual, like, the London Copper Box or whatever, every single match was played on the main stage, and it was only done over 2 days, which wasn't good logistically because the matches ran late into the night and the Copper Box had to try and kick everyone out, and it wasn't ideal from a number of different perspectives. But I think one of the reasons why they do that is because all of the franchises have paid the same amount of money to get into the league, and therefore they want to have an equal amount of exposure to the publicity, the people that are watching. They don't want to be relegated to a Bravo, a Charlie, a Delta stage, which doesn't really matter if you're like a typical organization trying to invest in Call of Duty, but if you're a franchise that's bought in, you want to be playing on the main stage. You want to be on the alpha stream every single time, and well, you want to have the most possible opportunities to actually get noticed and get seen by the fans, and therefore I think that's one of the reasons why the group play effectively dominates every single tournament, and the finals, the semi-finals of the final are honestly kind of like an afterthought in a way. So that's why I think Scump's thought process regarding how the pool play and going on from there could potentially work isn't necessarily going to be what the CDL wants, because it means that half the teams, if we did go to 16, and that's another question entirely, wouldn't even get to play half the tournament. The other option with that, of course, is then that you add a losers bracket, as we'll look at, where the teams that do go down in 3rd and 4th in each particular pool, then they have the opportunity to fight their way through. But the problem with that is then you wouldn't be able to do every single match on the Alpha station. You'd have to do Bravo, Charlie, Delta stations, and well, have it in a traditional, I suppose, CWL format. So I'm intrigued what their thoughts are going forwards, and of course, if you think from a logistical perspective, it's nice to be able to have 8-team events so that teams get weekends off, so that teams can like practice and, you know, plan for future events. They don't have to travel every single weekend. Well, I think pretty much everyone would prefer it if we could get every single team present at every weekend, and then we have a proper situation where, well, the best team wins every single time, and we don't have to worry about, okay, well, yeah, Atlanta did win this one, but Chicago and, FaZe weren't, or Chicago and Dallas weren't there, so does it really count? Like, we don't have to have those conversations, which I think is the ideal world for sure. So let's look at exactly what it happened last year, and this is CWL Anaheim from the 2019 season. This is what we used to do. So the question, of course, comes, is there even going to be 16 teams in the CDL next season? Is that expansion possible? Of course, there's some names here, the likes of Team Heretics. Of course, we talked about Rise Nation recently, hiring back Pac-Man, and with Gunless on the bench, is that like a way they build around? Do they get Gunless and Looney back? Like, that definitely could be a good starting point, in my opinion, if you wanted to build another roster. However, is the whole environment that we're in right now really going to be, is it really very helpful to people looking to invest? Probably not, right? Is the CDL, of course Activision would accept people's money, but is there enough teams, enough organizations that are willing to invest in the CDL right now to expand up to 16 teams for next season? I'm not perfectly clear that that is the case. RCTs, actually, we'll look at in a second, does have a solution to that if we are stuck at 12 teams, but I definitely think that maybe not this season or not 2021, but the year after, that's when we might be able to expand, but I'm not sure the circumstances really allow it to be possible right now. But in an ideal world, we definitely have 16 teams, I believe, in the league. So look, this is what it looked like before. We had pools of, well, round robin play effectively in pools, 4 teams. These were seeded like based on Pro League standings before the event, like a few weeks before. So teams got some preparation time to think who they were going to be playing against, but it wasn't like determined right at the start of the season. So at least they were playing in a relatively fair matchup where the best team plays against a team that isn't so good, and you get kind of rewarded for being good in that sense. Whereas right now you can be the best team and get stuck with the other best teams, given how the whole seeding situation has worked. This is what it used to be, and what Scump's kind of suggesting is that the top 2 teams in each pool, and of course the way it's determined, the top 2 teams is always kind of sketchy. The fact that Reciprocity were 2-1 here, but still went down to losers in, if there was no losers bracket, they would have no opportunity to even continue in the tournament, despite only losing 1 series, which isn't ideal. I definitely think there's better formats than round robin. Honestly, the GSL format this season, I do kind of like. That is maybe a better option if you want to do pools than doing a round robin play. Just do a GSL kind of like we have this season. Definitely has its disadvantages, but we've moved with GSL now. I think we should probably keep with that for the pool play. Then again, you get 2 teams that come out of each group, and then you go on to a bracket, and this is what it looked like last year, and frankly, this is just beautiful to look at, right? You look at this in comparison to what we have this year, there's no comparison, and one option could be is that we say, okay, we've got no losers bracket, we want to have every single matchup done on the alpha station, like on the main stage, or whatever you're going to do, have it over 3 days. Maybe it's possible, there's certainly a lot of matches to be played, but it might be possible to have just a winners bracket done on the alpha station and say, look, these are going to be best of 7s like we had back in the Black Ops 3 days for the playoffs and stuff like that, and we would just have, okay, so every match is on main stage, and we're going to have just winners bracket. If you go out of your group, then you don't get to continue in the tournament, and we're just going to do best of 7s, like single elimination, and the best team wins. Another alternative, of course, and I think maybe this is more in line with what the CDL would want, but then again, it does involve having to bring in Bravo, Charlie, and Delta stations, which maybe does relegate certain teams, which maybe they wouldn't like from a franchise perspective. But it does mean that they get to continue in the tournament, right? So you get this double elimination bracket where if you came out of the, if you lost in your first round of the tournament, you then go down, or if you lost in the group play, you go down to losers, and then you play through and have this fantastic bracket that we had here. And it felt like when 100 Thieves won this tournament, they 100% deserved it, right? Like, they were certainly the best team on the weekends. They hadn't just won four matches to win the weekends, as you do right now. As Scump was saying, you only have to win 4 matches to win the entire weekend right now. Back here, you have to get out of your group and then win at least 4 matches to make it all the way and win the championship grand final. This is what it used to be before. Intrigued to hear your thoughts down below on exactly how they could approach this. I certainly think that trying to get all 12 teams at the event is, it's going to be the better option. But of course, if you get 12 teams at the event, it begs the question exactly how you run that, right? 8 teams is pretty easy. 2 groups of 4. GSL format, you go from there. That's, kind of the best situation that we have right now. I don't mind it by any means. RZDs actually suggests a good option. Or imagine if the top 4 teams from an amateur tournament, so let's say there was an AM tournament that went on the week before or something like that, and a week before the pro tournament, gets put into the pools for the home series. So you have the 12 teams, but instead of having, the 4 extra teams that come in the professional league, you then bring in the 4 amateur teams that place best in the most recent events, have them play on LAN in the pools with the pro teams. And I kind of like this. Obviously, it's quite difficult to choose the top 4. Like, what do? Do you choose the best APAC team, the best European team, and then 2 North American teams? Maybe that's an option. How exactly do you seed those based on the amateur, the pro points they have, given it varies cross-regionally? Definitely that brings up some questions, but at the same time, it's kind of a nice idea, right? Because it means that you get all the pro teams at every single event, but then you would still have a format that makes some degree of sense, given the amateur players come in. It gives them a chance to compete. At the same time, then, I'm not sure the pros would be particularly, or I'm not sure the franchises would be particularly happy with these, like, random amateur teams, like, contracted to Triumph Gaming or whatever, get the same amount of exposure on the main stage as the franchise teams did that paid $25 million, right? So I just think that a lot of these options sound good on paper. But when you really think about exactly like how the brand situation works and what the franchises are expecting back from the league, I think a lot of these situations are quite difficult to put into practice. So if we don't get to expand to 16 teams next season, who even knows if it's going to be on LAN, as Slasher was talking about, it could be online for the entirety of it. But if it is on LAN, I'm not sure what steps they're going to take next season. I would love to have every single team at a tournament, but I'm not sure how feasible that is for a number of reasons we've discussed today. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.